Hello, everyone. So happy people are coming in. Hi, John. So happy to see you.
Yes, happy to see you too. So exciting.
Yeah. Thank you for waking up so early.
It's a joy and a pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Hi, Samta. Hi, Sanjay. Hi, Swati.
Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Hi, Antoinette. So happy to see you. You all are waking up so early from US, and Laura is joining from Uruguay. And hi, Armana. Thank you for joining in. Wow, this is wonderful joy. Hi, Kushil. Hi, Uri. You are outdoors somewhere. Where are you joining from, Uri?
I'm in Pisa. We're sitting in a restaurant just near the Tower of Pisa.
Oh, lovely.
So we'll be eating together also.
Thank you.
Hi, Manish.
Hi. That's Peter, right? Where are you?
I'm here. I'm in Austria.
Oh,
We are
thank you,
we are
Peter.
on
Thank you.
holidays.
So happy to hear your voice.
Yeah, so happy to see you.
Thank you.
Hey, Manish.
Hi.
This is Parag.
Hi, Parag.
Hello.
Hi, Isabel. You're joining from Korea, right? Seoul.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. People coming from all over the world. I'm feeling so blessed to have you all here.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Isabel. Hi, Chetan. So happy that you're here. We'll just wait maybe for a minute or so. Namrata, it's 6. So over to you. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. We should wait maybe a couple of minutes more because there are still people joining in.
Yes,
and then we can start.
Yes, and let me enjoy looking at the screen and see my friends here. Stefan, so happy to see you.
Hey, Manish, good to see you and everyone here. Hi.
Thank you, Stefan. Okay, I'm on Spotlight. Let me just go on the gallery view once again so I can enjoy my circle. And Vasu, so happy to see you, Vasu. How are you?
Yes. Doing good. Very good.
Thank
Extremely
you.
good. Yeah.
Hi, that's Kiran, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Kiran. Thank you for joining. And Vivi, you're joining from Chile. How are you feeling now? You're on mute.
Much better.
Yeah.
Half of my energy, but better.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining early in the morning. So wonderful. People coming from all over the world. I am just enjoying seeing. And Arvana, you're joining in from a hotel. I hope your Wi-Fi is good. Thank you. Qatar, how are you? Coming from Canada, right?
Yes, good morning from very cold Ottawa.
Thank you.
So nice to be here, Manish. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Hi, Artika, how are you?
Hi, good. Congratulations. Hi, Sonali.
Thank you. Hi, Esra. How are you? Are you joining from Turkey?
Yes, Manish, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations. Always holding you in my heart. And I wish you all the flow with your new book. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Esra.
Thank you.
Angela, you're here. Hi, Angela and Olaf. So happy to see you. Thank you. Thank you
Hi,
so much.
Manish. Anshu here. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you, Anshu. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. We are already on 2 screens. Let me see.
Amrita, shall we get started?
Yeah, I'll start. We'll start, Manish.
Yes, we can start now. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to the global book launch of Manish Srivastava's latest book, Midnight Journey of a Sea, Pathway to Resilience in the Face of a Pandemic. This session is hosted by the Himalayan Book Club, a Himalayan writing retreat initiative. Himalayan Book Club was born purely out of our love for the written word. We aim to bridge the gap between the authors and readers. To become a member, you can visit our website, www.himalayanwritingretreat.com. The link will also be shared towards the end of the session for all of you once again. I'm Namrata, the Digital and Outreach Coordinator at the Himalayan Writing Retreat, and I'm excited to welcome you to this book launch. To let you know a bit about Manish, Manish Srivastava is a poet, life coach, and facilitator of societal transformation. He's currently a senior faculty and co-director of social presencing theater with the Presencing Institute, USA. Manish works with leaders across business, government, UN, and civil society to co-design social innovation labs. He integrates poetry, contemplative art, and systems thinking to help leaders collectively sense, own, and transform the societal divides. Manish believes that art can uncover humanity's deepest longings, heal collective wounds, and offer pathways to new possibilities. His last book was Trading Armor or a Flower, provides a poetic pathway to heal gender trauma by integrating the inner masculine and feminine. Poems from this book have been translated into Hebrew and Spanish for reading in over 20 poetry dialogue circles by leading institutions and civil society movements worldwide. His work on transforming gender conflicts, human trafficking, and the migrant crisis has featured at the Presencing Institute Global Forum and Conflict Transformation Summit in 2020. Manish lives in Pune, India with his wife and son. His latest book, which I'm holding here, Midnight Journey of a Sea. The blurb of the book reads, "What is a crisis worth if it has not transformed you?" Midnight Journey of a Seed is a poetic memoir that brings to light the deeper story of human resilience in the face of a pandemic. By integrating poetry, anecdotes, art, and contemplative practices, the book takes readers on a healing journey and offers pathways to co-create a resilient future. Welcome, Manish, and congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
So we'll start the session and I'll ask the first question. The title of your book is very enticing and has made all of us very curious. Midnight Journey of a Sea, Pathways to Resilience in the Face of a Pandemic. So can you tell us how did you choose this title and what's the story behind it?
Thank you, Namrata. Before I go there and call it my book, I just felt like, because there's such wonderful people here, I want to say that I learned this time more than previous book, that it takes a village to raise a book. It takes a village to raise a book. And I just want to acknowledge the village. First of all, Sonali is here, my partner Sonali, and my son Samay, who can tell you each, you tell them the word and they'll tell you which page it is on. This is the extent to which I have bored them with the book. So I'm very grateful to them for still staying with me. And I want to acknowledge other wonderful people who have created. Sumitra Ahake, I don't know if she could join. She is a wonderful artist from a tribal village in Melghat region. She has made these beautiful, including this cover art, all the wonderful Varli art. We'll talk about it in a while. Tanya Patel, who's a young editor. She's also a pastry chef. So she's making pastries right now. She couldn't join, but she has edited the book. Then Himalayan Writing Retreat, Chetan, who is here, Chetan Mahajan, and Namrata Yu, who have helped me and guided me, created a space for me to play and become a writer. So I appreciate that. The Notion Press team, which includes Kavya, Shreya, I don't know if they have joined, they were about to join, but they have done exceptional work in producing this book. And I want to acknowledge all the people who wrote recommendations, including Arvana, who is here, Chetan himself, Otto Sharma, Ajay Chopra, Master Chef Ajay Chopra, Justice Prabha, who could not join today, but Nand Kishore from Jaipur Rugs, and Beth Mount, another colleague and friend of mine. And there are people whose stories are in the book, and they are here, including Mayur, Leslie, Parag, Anshu, Sonali Gera, all these people who have contributed their stories, including Kavita, who is right now in our kitchen, our cook, who has contributed her story and inspired me, and all the other my friends who have been on their nerves. Is the design okay? Is the logo okay? And I want to thank you, all of you who are here, Samta, Artika, Anupam. So it took the whole village to make this book happen. And my friends, Kiran, Sanjay, Abhishek, all of you. So thank you so much. It feels a bit like, when a child is born and you have the whole family gathering. So thank you so much for gathering for this book. Now I forgot what was your question, Namrata.
Just to interrupt you, sorry. I think Sumitra has just joined. I have just given her the permission. Sumitra Ahake. She's just joined the session.
We will talk about. Thank you, Sumitra ji, आने के लिए. आप इतनी दूर से आ रहे हैं. I'm so happy that you are here. And initially, Sumitra misunderstood that this is online. So Sumitra said, should I catch a bus and come to Pune? And I'm so grateful to her that she has contributed. And we'll talk about Sumitra's art in a while. Thank you, Sumitra ji. Yes, Namrata.
My question was about your title. The title is very enticing and has made, it makes readers curious. So can you tell us, how did you choose this? And what's the story behind the title of your book?
Yes. So, I think early in the lockdown, I started this practice of waking up early and contemplating and writing. And it was in a way encouraged by Himalayan writing retreat, that when we were in the first draft club, we would just get up and write. And as I was doing that, once I got an image of a seed, and I wrote a poem. So let me read this poem, which is in the beginning of the book, and that sets the tone. The seed had no choice. The seed had no choice when she was separated, lost, tossed, and buried below the dark earth alone. But somewhere in the middle of the night, she felt she had to choose to harden up and deny the journey so painful, or to let the journey crack open her shell and give birth to a new life. And that became the midnight journey of a seed, which then, as I engaged with the seed, I almost started talking to this seed, and she started guiding me on a journey. She started telling me that just like us, we have been through a lockdown. The seed is also locked down below the dark earth. And she said that all you have to do is to find the ground. And that became the first phase of the book, first part of the book, which is resourcing. Find your source, find the ground, reconcile with what's broken. That was the second phase. Revive your spirit and send the shoot up no matter what. And that's revival. And then finally regenerate, be the plant that you're born to be, and serve the forest. So that became the journey. And I think that is the inspiration and the title of the book.
That's really interesting. So what inspired to write this book?
I thought about it, and I thought that there was no one big inspiration. There were many micro inspirations that came together, and I'm just going to name two of them. One of that was very early. I think it's very interesting. I think it was 4th or 5th of March that in social media, there was a message by Hopi Indian, White Eagle. He's a Hopi Indian chief of Hopi Nation. And this message, when I read, because in the beginning of the lockdown, it was so intense in March 2 years back. When I read this message, it kind of gave me an inspiration and found its way into the book. So I'm going to read a few lines, and that was my source of inspiration. He said, "You were prepared to go through this crisis. When the storm passes, you will be very important in reconstruction of this new world. What world do you want to build for yourself? For now, this is what you can do. Serenity in the storm. Calm down and pray every day. Establish a routine to meet the sacred every day. And sing, dance, resist through art, joy, faith, and love. And when I read that, I said, I need to develop a ritual to meet the sacred. And I started waking up, as I said, and attending to whatever struggles, trauma, my personal, of my family, of migrant laborers, of urban poor, whatever I experienced, I would let it give birth to a poem or a story or a art or embodiment. And that's what I started as a practice. Book was shaping. I didn't know it's a book till I attended. The second source of inspiration was I attended a seminar where on collective trauma healing, where Thomas Hubel was interviewing poet David White. And the essence of that, what I understood in my words, is that when we go through an intense trauma like pandemic, or losing a friend during pandemic, or losing a job, or any other crisis, it is so intense that our system shuts down some parts. We're not able to attend to the whole. It's too much, right? But those parts that we have not attended keep running as apps in the background, right? We shut down the app, but it is running in the background, and it sucks the battery away. It sucks the life force away. And so what poetry or art does is to slowly bring it to the force, bring it to forth, so we can examine it and allow it to heal, allow it to be transformed. And that's what I thought, let's bring this work into open. And that's where Arvana and Engla and Olaf are there. Together we created, we took one poem, we took some reflections, and we created social art. And that was presented in global forum to thousands of people. And that led to a little movement that led to generation of new projects, insights, and funds. And that kind of gave me a hope. But still the book was not born. And there comes the third one, for which I'm grateful to Himalayan Writing Retreat. I guess Chetan is still here. And I think in one of the workshops, he guided me in a way to translate this experience into an article, which was titled, Can Poetry Heal Collective Trauma? And that article became a foundation for giving me courage to write this book. So if Chetan is still around, and if you would like to say something, Chetan, you have read the book, your experience of it, that will be wonderful.
Yeah, sure. Can you all hear me? So my title at the Himalayan Writing Retreat is the Chief Staffing Officer. If you actually hand me the mic, it might become a problem. So I wrote something down. But Manish, one thing I have to say before I read what I wrote is simply that if anybody attends as many workshops as you have attended, something will be found of that, right? Because Manish is, we have participants who will attend 1 or 2 workshops, and then we have people that we call junkies. So Manish has now gone into the junkie category of participants at the Himalayan Writing Retreat. Although you've still not physically been here, so you should definitely come and visit in person. But yeah, I mean, it was a little interesting when I was thinking about Manish, and I was also thinking about this very famous author, Rainer Maria Reich, who's the author of Letters to a Young Poet, because both Manish and Rainer went to a military boarding school, and both are poets. And I think that's a very interesting kind of journey for people to go from a highly, disciplined, relatively tough and hard experience like that to this. But yeah, he participated in the CWC online, and he was a great presence, a very generous presence in the classroom. And I think you were already well into your book when you attended the course, right? Or you had already written quite a few bits of it. Yeah.
Yes.
And so it was great to have him in the classroom. He was like supportive, positive, leading everyone else, holding their hand. And his book is a collection of poems reflecting on the pandemic. It starts with a look inward to understand the impact of COVID-19, moves to reconciliation and healing. So that's what I really liked. It wasn't just a rant, but it had a very nice overall positive message, which it kind of closes with. And the poems veer from very dark to very cheeky. But whatever be the nature of the poem, there is always a nice lyrical quality to the writing. So I really did enjoy reading your work, Manish, and all the best. And thanks for making us part of your journey. That's really it's really great to see so much joy.
Thank you so much, Chetan. Thank you. Namrata.
Yeah. Moving on to our next question, Manish. It would be wrong to call your book a poetry collection in a conventional way, for it is much more than that. It has a map to guide your journey in navigating through it all, and it also has questions towards the end for a reader to answer and ponder upon. Like, was it intentional to not limit it to a poetry collection and make it something more than that?
I think, thank you for that question, and thank you for noticing that the book is not just a book of poetry, poems, because I didn't want to just offer my outburst or expression to the people. I want to engage my readers into a journey. I want to take you with me in the book so that you can, as readers, can discover themselves. And it's a bit like, consider it a workbook or a workshop, if you may say. And I want this book to be your friend as when you go for a walk. And that's why it has, I kind of wrote it, taking you into the journey. It has layers. It has layers of poems. Of course, poems are like windows into the heart, but then it also has a layer of a narrative which weaves through the poems. Namrata, if you can share screen, because I can't, I would like to take you to a little tour in the book, which I prepared today. I hope it works well. So you can, thank you. If you can just, yeah. So let's see what this book is about. And it would be joy to share with all of you. Next slide, please. So that's the kind of a structure of the book. You see that a seed goes through 4 phases, which I already mentioned. There are 4 phases and 10 chapters. And at the end of each phase, you see there are practices, there are contemplative practices, which we'll talk a little bit more later, resourcing practice, reconciliation. And that kind of invites you to not just read these poems, but also integrate them and discovering your own poetry, your own message. So that's the broader structure of the book. Next slide. And I just want to double click on the first chapter. So when you start with the first chapter, for example, the first chapter here is sudden darkness in the middle of the night. That was in the beginning of the pandemic. We had this, suddenly we noticed the world falling apart. So that's the first chapter. And as you turn the page over, next slide, it starts with some anecdotes and stories about what was going around in our world. So basically the intention is that to bring to life, as the reader, as you are reading it, it brings to life what happened then. And it just refreshes that. And then when you turn the page over, it comes to a question. And this is a question which invites us, as like a coaching question. In this chapter, the question is, how do we come to terms with the unprecedented disaster and find new grounds to stand on? And I left the space so you can draw, doodle, and work with the question. Like, what is your reflection on the question? And then when you turn the page, you see this gorgeous art by Sumitra ji, who is here on the call. This is a Varli painting that she has made, and a seed painting. And when you look at this, it is mirrored with a story, a narrative poem, which runs through all the 10 chapters. It's a journey of a warrior, inner warrior, who's going through this, this struggle and cultivating resilience. So that kind of, what it does is, it takes the personal struggle, the personal answer, to a collective reflection of with the help of the art and this narrative. And then the next page is actually we dive into the poems, which kind of are reflective of what was happening, and it kind of invites you. So each chapter by chapter, as you keep turning the pages, it keeps taking us through that till we reach chapter 10, which is this one, which I realized at that stage that pandemic is not yet over. So the book cannot be over. I didn't want to put a ribbon. So left these open boxes, canvas for us, just leaving the question and inviting readers to now you write yours. What kind of world you want to build for yourself? How would we nurture Earth and all the children? And there are more questions and more open spaces for you to write, because my intention is that we refresh but as Chetan was saying, it goes to healing and it goes to new creation. So maybe you end up writing a book from this. Maybe it's not a book, it's a project, and maybe it's a healed relationship. So whatever that is, that's the journey it's bringing to. I'll pause now, Namrata. Over to you.
Before we move on to the next question, Manish, I just want to add here, I got this book a couple of days ago and I finished it today. And I can actually relate to the feeling that you just told, that you actually wanted to hold the hand of the reader and take them through this journey. It feels like it's a friend who's, trying to talk and then guide you through a journey about how we will face this together. It actually ends up giving a feeling where it says, that you're not alone. There is somebody who's actually feeling the same. So that somebody might be miles apart. It's not that we are physically close or, standing next to each other, but this book gives that feeling. That I would definitely agree. I would actually like to read a quote, which is from Arvana on this book. And we would like to invite her to talk something about this book. I'm sorry. So as Arvana has said, from the first through to the last page of Midnight Journey of a Seed, we are invited into the world of a tender and brave-hearted warrior. Manish's poetic reflections on life during the pandemic offer us a wide perspective, intimate healing, and the courage to extend compassion to others. Arvana?
Thank you so much. It's thrilling, Manish, to be here and to be with all of your friends and those who love you and are cheering you on. And so pleased that you put your time and energy and all of your wisdom into this journey. So one of the things that I noticed the most when I read it was the kind of richness of resonance, that there's darkness and depth and then shifting and then suddenly humor and care and fierceness, that the texture of the words and the images is so just brought for me a lot of feeling that was I just didn't want to cope with somehow in terms of all of the uncertainty that was going on. And yet through his words and images, I felt like, oh, these feelings can be integrated. These feelings have their own wisdom. These feelings have their own journey. And this was very helpful and inspiring. And, I just really think it's a wonderful, wonderful book for all of us to have not only a certain kind of perspective on always in any moment, there's a possibility for creativity. There's a possibility for further care for this world, and a possibility that we're more resilient and strong and wise than we think. So I cannot be more pleased, Manish, with your generosity in sharing this with us. And I'd forgotten the story about your military background, and then I think, oh, lots of discipline. Besides, on top of that, we know all of the meetings you've had to attend, all of the work you're doing in the UN, all of the other things that are going on at the same time that you are able to create this work of art. So thank you so much, Manish, for just who you are as a human being and incredible wisdom and skill that we've all experienced from working with you over these years and knowing you all these years, and just couldn't be more pleased for this wonderful fruition of this part of your life, which is shared so generously with all of us. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Arvana. This matters a lot to me coming from you, and those who, many of us, almost everyone knows Arvana, and just Arvana is our teacher of social presencing theater at Presencing Institute. And she, during the lockdown, she also wrote a wonderful book, Social Presencing Theater, Art of Making a True Move. And I have been deeply inspired. You'll find Arvana many times in the book, some of the practices which guided, in a way, guided me to do those morning rituals, which gave birth to this book. So thank you so much.
Manish, the next question we have for you is, can you talk a bit about the beautiful sketches inside the book before the beginning of each new segment? The sketches have a story of their own to tell in so many ways.
I would love to talk about it, and maybe just take a little backstory that as most of the writers coming from Himalayan Writing Retreat know, that first draft is overwhelming. So my first draft, when all that came out, I was overwhelmed with all that, and I was looking for an organizing principle around it. And then I had an image of a warrior king. Once I was sleeping, literally sleeping with my printouts, and I had this image of a warrior king. And I spoke to Vasu, who is also on the call, my mentor. I asked Vasu, what do I do about it? And Vasu said, you possibly need an artist who can resonate this back to you. And I came across Sumitra Ahake, whom I had met when she was a young girl. And now she is Masters of Fine Art. And she said, okay, she will do it. She started doing it and painting it. But then the second wave hit, and I was so overwhelmed. I felt I'm not going to do this book. This is not possible. I was a little scared, to tell you honestly, to engage in these emotions with the fear, what if this all happens to me in some bad way? So I was little scared, and I had given up the idea. Just then, Sumitra sends these wonderful arts, which you have already seen, these beautiful images. And I felt, oh God, I got to do the book for Sumitra because she has moved ahead and I haven't. So I have to do this for her. And I looked at these 10 paintings, which when they started doing a duet with my poem. Now here is a painting that this is how Sumitra sees. And this is how I am seeing the poem of the chapter. And then there is a duet between the two. And that's how I got renewed faith to do the book. And I'm so grateful to her. So that's the journey of the art and how it informed me. Yes, I just wanted to say that, Namrata.
It's actually very beautiful and inspiring. So apart from poems, sketches, and some small notes and essays, you've also shared a lot of practices for a reader to act as a guide. There are resourcing practices, there are reviving practices, regeneration practices. So what do you want the reader to take away from this book essentially?
Before we go there, I just saw Sumitra ji is here. I don't know, Sumitra ji, आप कुछ एक बार उनको आप पिन कर दीजिए at least, so वो at least हम सब उनको celebrate कर सकें, और वो अगर एक दो लाइन आप बोलना चाहती हैं, आपका क्या अनुभव था, तो बहुत अच्छा होगा सुमित्रा जी. आपको अनम्यूट कर दीजिए सुमित्रा जी.
Should I unmute?
Unmute Sumitra ji. कहाँ चली गई?
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namrata, I think you've pinned the wrong person. You've pinned Swati.
1 second, I'll just check.
Swati will come in a while.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
You can pin all three.
Yes.
She's unmuted. She's up. Okay.
So, Sumitra ji, thank you for joining us.
Sorry.
हम सब आपका धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं. एटलीस्ट मैं आपका धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ. डेफिनेटली आपने मदद किया और इतने अच्छे से आर्ट किया. आपको कुछ कहना चाहते हैं आप किताब के बारे में, आपके अनुभव के बारे में, कुछ भी आपके मन में जो आ रहा है अभी?
सर, मैं जो ये मेरा मतलब ये स्टोरी बुक जो है, मैंने पहले मतलब मेरा पहला ही काम होगा स्टोरी बुक का, तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा ये काम करके और मतलब मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मुझे ये कोरोना के ऊपर काम करने का जो मौका मिला है वो बहुत अच्छा रहा मेरे लिए अनुभव मतलब अनुभव बहुत अच्छा रहा उसमें मतलब उसमें से अच्छे मतलब लोगों ने अच्छे या बुरे दिन देखे हैं और वो सब आंखों के सामने ऐसे आते थे मेरे और वो अपने हाथों से एक पेपर पे उतारना कि लोगों के ऊपर क्या-क्या मतलब लोगों को क्या-क्या सहना पड़ा। ये सारी चीजें मुझे ये वो स्केचेस करते हुए मतलब एहसास हुआ कि लोगों ने कितना सहा होगा और कितनी तकलीफें उठाई होंगी।
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sumitra ji. I'll just quickly translate. She's saying that this was her first experience working on a storybook, and while sketching, she could feel the pain of people, how much they have suffered and all that they have gone through, and she could feel that. And Sumitra ji, हम भी महसूस कर सकते हैं कि आपने वो महसूस किया है. We can feel what you felt. And thank you so much for capturing that on the paper. Thank you, Sumitra ji. Over to you, Namrata.
Yeah, so we would like you to read some of your favorite poems from this book and talk a bit of behind the expression or the message that you had behind creating that work.
Yes, I want to now invite my childhood friend, Swati Srivastava. Swati is a filmmaker from UCLA, lives in New York, an artist and filmmaker, poetess herself, a writer. And she's also a voiceover artist, which means the audiobooks that all the writers hear, what you hear, Swati is one of them. And I'm so happy that she's here. I asked her, we are pen friends from a very young age. So my initial poems I have written to her. so it's so good that I said, Swati, you have to read a poem. You choose and read. So Swati, over to you.
Thank you, Manish. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Well, I'm going to read your lovely poem, but I just want to say, Manish and I, our journey, I was thinking about it, that we started as pen friends. So writing is what brought us together. So it's such an honor and such a moment of joy to be here, especially after what all of us have gone through and are still going through. And when Manish sent me the book, I have to admit that I have got a lot of friends in Ukraine whose family is stuck there. And from that space, the poem that I could choose and speak of today is the poem I'm going to read now. It's all right. An alchemist in my basement. I met an alchemist today, weird, unpredictable, and at times mean, often accentuating my words and amplifying my being. His first question was quite offensive. How long will you hide behind the pandemic? I was triggered. Hide? You have no idea how much we suffer. Unapologetic, he pressed further. Well, it's your choice, your creation. As he began to get on my nerves, I was burning red with rage, projecting it out loud. Onto the Chinese who got us into this mess, the politicians who exploited our suffering and pushed it beyond control, and everyone around me who still can't get their masks onto their noses. He took a deep breath, touched my shoulder with a swift blow. He pulled out my fiery red armor, then rolled it into a small burning ball and put it back in my heart. He said, "Here, it's all yours. Your anger is a precious fire, a deep desire for freedom and respect. Don't throw it away at the world. Learn to kindle it and warm your soul." There was something true about his words. I felt strength flowing through my back. Just then, a chill went down my spine. He noticed and exclaimed, "Ah, now you are scared." I could not hide it anymore. Fears coursed through my veins. I got down on my knees. The fear of losing my dear ones and failing in my life's mission. The fear of dying alone and never singing my soul song. He gently kneeled with me and pulled out of me a cold blue sheet that was so far merged with my skin. He rolled it into a small ball and put it back in my heart. He said, "Here, it's all yours. Deep care for what you love often gets stuck in old hooks. Keep it in your heart. Let it remind you of what truly matters." There was something deeply reassuring in his words. I felt my feet rooted on the solid earth. He then sat down on the floor, as though he knew what would come next. He looked at my heart with teary eyes, and unexplained sadness welled up inside. I could not hold it any longer. Crying like a little child, I collapsed like a loose pile of sticks onto the cold basement floor. This time, he didn't act quick and let me mourn my most painful losses, the heartbreaks I had fast forwarded each time someone I cared for fell sick, lost their jobs, or could not survive the pandemic. He waited a little longer. My tears turned into a warm breath. I felt the rising of another despairing wave. My heart choked. He gave me voice and said, "Our deepest sorrow is not about others' loss, but our growing distance from our source." He then reached out into my heart and gently pulled out a dark, wet blanket, rolled it into a small ball and put it back in my heart. He said, "Here, it's all yours. It's the sadness that heals all divides. Let it keep your heart alive and transform your wounds into the work of your life." This time, I could feel his pain. He looked a lot like me. He suddenly turned into a little child. I felt a spontaneous joy sprouting all over my being, like winter welcoming spring. He laughed. I laughed louder. The basement rang with our innocent laughter. We danced and rolled on the floor. When we settled, I wondered, what will he pull out now? "Nothing," he said. "There are no more armors left. Your joy is your true color." He rolled himself into a little flower and floated gently into my heart. I hugged myself, curled up on the floor. The house is still cold. The city is still locked down. But I suppose I found a way to my home.
Thank you so much. I hope all of us find our way to our home. And the alchemist comes out and goes in. Thank you so much. You brought it live. You brought it live for me.
It was very beautifully done. Yeah, I had little goosebumps just when she started. Manish, before we start, we go to the last question. There are actually a lot of comments for you, which all of them want you to read. So should I read them aloud for you?
Yes, please. That will be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, so the first comment is from Sanjay Dutt. He's written, "Wow, the apps can so relate to it. The seed did start finding the soil." Mansi Saxena says, "That's so beautiful, Manish." Samata Vashisht says, love the contextualization and the eternal existential inquiries. Marcela has said, great. Antoniette has said, beautiful. Esra has said, it's so inspirational and beautiful. Antoniette has said, I love the Wally paintings. Divya has to say how beautiful this is. This is beauty in full expression and flow. Artika says, so lovely. Mansi has said, so much thoughtfulness in this. This is beautiful. Peter has said, this is super. Thank you for this impulse to actively take part. Edison has said, so cool. Samada has said, it's so wholesome, so inclusive. You are speaking to the reader. Ezra has written, I got love chills. Jean has written, a living book. Samta has said, Ezra, love your expression, love chills. Sanjay Dutt has further said, Manish, the curious explorer who always pokes for potential of others, love to see it in the book too. Kiran has said, Manish, this book seems to be like a way to meet you in your absence, a fragrance, a rainbow that can be accessed by opening a page. Marcela has said, a journey of resonances. Artika has said, so grateful for having Manish in our lives. Laura and Viviana agree. Peter has further added, the way you talk about the book, your journey, and all those who participated enriches my life and changes my perspective about my life. Sanjay has further added, everything in the universe has a rhythm and everything dances. Maya Angelou has said that. It's lovely to see Sumitra and you find the rhythm. Mansi, धन्यवाद Sumitra ji, आपको सुन के अच्छा लगा. Samata has says, I have no words or emoticons that can suffice to respond. So the silence is complete. Antoniette has said, Swati, that was magnificent. Thank you so much for this reading. So powerful and inspiring. Kokel says, Sonali says, thank you so much for your magical presence, Swati. Artemis, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Anupam has responded, touching and evocative. Thank you, Manish.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I will be saving this chat and I'll be sharing a copy of it with you. I'm sure as a writer and a poet and a person who's managed to create this, it would mean a lot to you.
Yes, every word means so much. Your presence means so much.
So Mayur has said one thing became alive. Jahana jaye Ravi waha jaye Manish Kavi. Mayur Satyavrat has just said that.
Thank you, Mayur. So maybe we can hear from people any questions.
Sure. I was about to just say that in case you have any questions, any of you want to ask Manish anything, please feel free. Either you can write in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and talk.
Manish, I want to ask you that, I mean, from what little I've heard, it's clear that not only have you shaped the book, but the book has shaped you, perhaps in more significant ways than you have shaped it. And could you say a little bit about how the book has shaped you?
Thank you so much, Kiran. I think that's a very profound comment, and I guess it is true for everyone who writes. For me, this book has shifted so much. It healed me. It shifted the way I related to the crisis, to the pandemic, to the relationships, and particularly appreciating life. And in one of the chapters, I will say chapter 8, which is about relationship. It is sacred union with the beloved. Just that comes to me. And because Kiran, next to your little tile is Sonali, my life partner. So that's my heart is opening with love. And I think that I felt this pandemic was also a crash course in love, kindness. It was a crash course. It taught us the value of rising in love. And so I'm very grateful for taking this journey. And when you write, then it kind of becomes more visible to you. And I think now the book is still shaping me. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Manish. We have a comment from Laura. I felt inspired by how you embrace all your paths with compassion. The alchemist is yourself. The deepest wound and the highest gift go together. Your fear as a source of inspiration. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Laura.
Manish, that brings us to our last question. We would like you to talk about some of your publishing journey and your experiences about getting this book published.
Yes, I think you asked me that question, and since many writer friends are here, yes, I want to say two things about it. First of all, it was not easy, and that was not easy because of the categorization, right? The traditional publishing has these categories. Is it poetry? Is it self-help? Is it a book on art and art therapy? Is this a book about memoir? Is a memoir true account? And I felt it was all of that in some way. So it was not easy to find the way through the traditional publishing. Also, some of them who were about to do it, the second wave came and they were down with COVID or they lost people. So I realized that it's timely and it's time for me to just go out and do it. And then something interesting happened. I was struggling that how do we take it to the world? And I would have reached out to some of you. How do we take it to the world? And then my son heard that. So he made this. Can you see that? Yeah. He wrote a book called Papa. That's me. And then this book it's a story book. It has the whole story, Papa, Mama, and him and his toys. And then it has the end part of it. And then another version, he also made bars. So he said, this is what you do, Papa. You write and you share. That's publishing to a 9-year-old. And then I thought, okay, that's simple. I write and I share. And that's what I did. I reached out to Notion Press that I have this ready and I want to share. And they went out their way to support me. So that's the journey in brief.
Lovely. It's very inspiring. Anybody else wants to share something?
Yeah, would love to hear any questions, reflections, because so many of you have been part of this journey. So maybe anyone wants to share. Samta, I see you laughing. Would you want to share something?
Yes, I would love to share something. I mean, there's just so much, but one thing particularly I would love to say, this was just before he had to hand over the manuscript and say, okay, go for printing. And he called me. I mean, there's like innumerable calls we've had. But that moment, it was like just before, he was looking at everything. Is this font okay? Is this color okay? Is this? I said, Manish, just quiet, just quiet. And the thing is that I saw the artist in him. And that is the day I got in touch with, oh my God, it must be so difficult for an artist to live their journey of creating something, because creation is creating through them. And I could see Manish in that there was a small Manish which was struggling, and there was this large Manish who had created this through creation. So I have deep reverence for his work and the rawness and the honesty and the vulnerability with which he writes the truth that comes through him. And that is why it touches so many.
Thank you, Samta. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Definitely that small Manish is still struggling. A little nervous. Yeah.
Manish, we have two more comments in the chat box. One is from John. I'm feeling your words and heart and beauty flowing here in my little box in the sky in New York City, carried as the sun rises, as if there is no distance, no separation, no here, no there.
John, you're a poet. This is beautiful. Thank you.
Very happy to see Samay also.
Yes. We have started calling ourselves team author because what we create comes together.
Parag further says, Manish, love your genuinity, realism, and vividness. Book seems to be very simplistic and touching.
Thank you, Parag. It matters so much. And Parag's, you will find Parag's story of resilience, Leslie, Mayur, all their stories of resilience in the book, because these are the people who taught me what it means. And their stories are there very much in the book. Thank you, Parag, for saying that.
Edison has
Manish.
asked you, would it be of your interest reading what people write in the empty pages that you left in the book? And how would you?
Beautiful question, Edison. I am really curious. So what I have done something. Thanks for asking that, Edison. What I'm doing is, I think to me, I learned this in the previous book. When we did these gatherings, people came and I had a humble realization. No one came to meet me. No one came to meet my book. They came to meet themselves. And book became a doorway through which they entered. So I'm offering for next 6 months, I've committed to offer monthly circles, reading, healing, and resilience circles. We're inviting people, and anyone, people may write in their pages, which I will never know, but maybe some of them show up and share how this is shaping them, what they want to create. And maybe, and I think that is a space where I get healed also. So I look forward to Edison, please come. And the next one is on the first one is on 7th. I'll send you details. First one is on 7th. So yes, that's the intention. Thank you for that question, Edison.
May I ask you one thing?
Yes, Peter.
Manish? Look, I think we met about 15 years ago in a Boston restaurant, first time. And then we joined on our trainings due to Otto Scharmer and all the processes we worked through. When was the point that you started about poems? What made you thinking about poems and writing it? What was this trigger point that pushed you to this path?
What a wonderful, thank you, Peter. What a wonderful question. And I used to write poems since the age of 9, but it was the hidden part of me. I didn't bring it to the forefront. It was my personal practice. But I think, Peter, there is a only you could have asked that question, because we met in 2012 in the Global Forum. That's when Arvana introduced art as a stall. And instead of going to the business stall, I ended up going to the art stall. And when I went there, she was handling these labels for people to play. And the label I ended up getting was marginalized artist. And I realized the artist in me is marginalized. And then the journey started there. So there I realized that I can bring the art and poetry to the forefront. Although I had lifetime encouragement from Vasu, as we were doing organizational development, he was teaching, he would always encourage me to bring my poetry. But it took time between then to 2012 that I started bringing it to the forefront. And more lately, Peter, I just felt that it's important to that poetry has a way to speak the truth, which is deep in us, and art has a way to bring that forth and to integrate it and then generate action confidence. So now it's very much part of my life in the things I do. It was in the shadow, it came up at some stage. Thank you.
Manish, I think Mansi had her hand up. Mansi, would you like to go next?
I can. I just realized I can unmute and go ahead. Manish, I want to say thank you so much for writing this and for inviting me to be part of this little gathering, because I think I had a hint perhaps from the workshop you did for us about what might be emerging. And I've kind of had a sense of what was, I don't know. No, I couldn't have possibly imagined what it is. And I guess what's coming up for me is that somewhere, because the pandemic was something I lived in a very real way, in a very unusual way for me, I think, I have such a sense of companionship. And it's such a relief almost to see this in a way that there's room to add stories, there's ways to heal and learn from it. I want to say that I think for some of us who were neck deep in very weird work that, nobody would have expected people to be doing, but I have a sense there's a depth of empathy in it, and it was healing just to even be here. It's really, really beautiful. And yeah, I'm very touched. So I just wanted to name that.
Thank you so much, Mansi. And Namrata is adding the link. Maybe she will add the link to the book too.
I'm just adding that.
Yes.
Uri has her.
Yes.
Uri has.
Yes, brother Uri. I just want to say Uri encouraged me so much on my previous book. He turned it into some of the poems he turned into a film actually. So Uri, I'm so happy that you're joining us. Please say what you want to share.
Yeah, I'm connecting from the streets of Pisa, and I realized that the poem from the title of the last book, I used it in this video art, and I superimposed it on a piece of video of me walking in a street in a town in North Italy. And I was filming that because basically what happened there is that I was actually experiencing some post-traumatic experience from my army. I was kind of reactivated as a killer spontaneously. And I grabbed the camera or the phone to record it, and somehow the camera was a distancing effect. And so, you know, I just feel, and I didn't get to read this book yet, but I'm feeling a lot this right now in Europe, everywhere, the warrior, the wounded warrior walking the streets of Kiev and walking the streets of Moscow as well, and all the child and adult and older soldiers. And yeah, I'm just wanting to bring that up and saying and hoping we can find something in those poems. I believe in that self-healing and the universal connects to the personal, and that we're able to find that shadow part that seems to be re-emerging because some things haven't been processed yet in the pandemic. And so that's how I'm reading that, you know, that there is more of the shadow that emerges, and maybe we have not been looking at. And I guess it's not a question, but more, yeah, I guess a question of how can we work with that energy, with that poetic medicine in metamorphosing the shadow side that is emerging currently.
Thank you, Uri. That's so beautiful. The poetic medicine. Thank you so much. Ezra, what would you like to say? You're on mute. Yes.
Yeah, okay, I managed. So all of you look all so beautiful, also in peace to me. So thank you. Thank you, Manish. I'm so grateful to be part of your tribe. And I got love chills as I wrote, you know, because that's how I really felt. And it was when Swati was reading it, it resonated what I was feeling, what you were probably intended to write and to say to all of us and to the world. We're all in it in this world. We're all working in this journey. So just beautiful, in all harmony, in all beauty. We're all in this together. And special thanks to you, to Swati, to Namrata, who's been really moderating it beautifully. And I want to send all my love to all of you and to all the participants. I really, you know, I think I want to cry from happiness that we are gathered for a purpose. We're gathered for a purpose that you are leading, and it can lead to many others. It can be led to the future generations, and it's really something you have put it on. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ezra. Thank you so much. Yeah, I receive it. Thank you. I listening to you and Uri, and I know our time is up. So I want to first say thank you to everyone for showing up. You showed up for this purpose that Ezra just mentioned. We all are showing up, gathering in this circle for this purpose. And I'm a humble servant of this purpose. This book is a doorway to that purpose. And I want to remember that not to get lost in the small Manish sometimes. But I want to remember that. And thanks for naming that, Ezra. And I hope that we all together can create these healing spaces. This is one medium. There are many mediums, and each one of us is a medium. And it's important. This book is a comma. It's a pause. It's an invitation to it's a meadow in the busy life to sit like the meadows that Chetan has in his beautiful Himalayan writing retreat. So this is an invitation. So thank you so much. And I'm going to read these 3 lines just as a closure, because as I was, because we started with the seed, so we have to do some justice to the seed. So here, maybe I'll read 5 lines. The seed will sprout in despair to meet the longing of a pure heart. The seed will sprout in despair to meet the longing of a pure heart. Listen to the plants thriving in the crack. Listen to the plants thriving in the cracks. They know the midnight journey of a seed, a pathway for the gardeners of a new realm. And I believe we all are gardeners of the new realm. And all those wounded soldiers, Uri, all those cracks, plants in the cracks are our messengers. Thank you so much.
I think we should read Vasu's comment.
Yes.
Yeah, he's saying, as I'm connecting the dots, what hit me hard are pages 55 and 121. More is my soul work. Manish is screaming from the seed under the earth. I'm overwhelmed by the outpouring you froze into this tiny treatise of life. Gratitude to all who have added themselves. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Vasu. This means so much to me. Thanks for sharing that.
Manish, for letting me see my cracks. Vasu has just added in the comments.
Thank you, Vasu. Such a deep mirror you are to me. Thank you.
This brings us to the end of this session. Thank you everyone for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Manish. It was brilliant discussing this book with you. We enjoyed this conversation a lot. We wish you all a very happy weekend. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Namrata. Thank you, everybody. Thanks. Lovely meeting all of you.
Same. Thank you.